Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is a very special type of video. It's not only a Lego build video, but it's also a passion because I'm speaking very fast today because I'm very excited to mark the release of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, released in cinemas very shortly. If by the time you probably watch this video it's already out, we are going to be building this. Now this has been a very long time coming. I'm very excited because today we are going to be building Sonic the Hedgehog brickheads. Now I've been sitting on the set for quite a while, just waiting for the perfect time to sit down, relax and build some Lego, and I think this is now the perfect time. Let's build Sonic the Hedgehog and let's talk about my love for Sonic. So here we go.
Alright then, so here we are. So here is our Sonic brickheads. It contains 139 pieces and beautifully puts together the Blue Blur himself in Lego form. Now, as this is a Lego video and we like to have a good chat about what we are building, I've scoured the internet and I've come up with the 7 best and most popular questions to ask a Sonic fan. Also in alignment with the 7 Chaos 7 rules from the series as well. Number 1. What is your favourite Sonic game? Now that is a hard question for any Sonic fan to choose. It is very difficult. So I'm going to give you my top 3. Not necessarily in any order, but my top 3 most beloved Sonic games. So our first one is probably one you weren't expecting, but it is Sonic Heroes. Now Sonic Heroes was my first introduction to 3D Sonic games. I remember the first time I actually ever got to play it was in a Toys R Us on a demo station that they created, and you could play the first 3 levels of Sonic Heroes, and I must have gone through that demo multiple times, getting to the Egg Falcon boss and beating it with all the different teams that were on offer. And yeah, for one Christmas I got that game and absolutely loved it. And I never played a 3D Sonic game before, so I'd never played Sonic Adventure series at all, so that was a true introduction to the Sonic franchise in a 3D format to myself. So that being said, nostalgia certainly took over because I didn't have any expectations of what a Sonic game should look like or play like. So this was my first introduction. You had Sonic the Speed character, Knuckles the Strength character, and Tails your Flying character. And the vast array of Sonic characters you got to play as. I remember Team Dark being ridiculously hard as a child to complete some of their missions because all the teams would have a difficulty attached to them. But it was just so cool getting to play as all these different heroes and their abilities. Yeah, they had the same kind of archetypes, but they were fun to play as. Espio is a ninja, so he's got the camouflage stealth kind of thing to him, and the missions weren't just reach the goal, there was collect this, destroy this, and Team Dark as well being very much extended versions of the level, which was absolutely brilliant. So a lot of that love for Sonic and the franchise does stem from this game, Sonic Heroes. And the soundtrack, oh my gosh, the soundtrack is amazing. I remember watching the opening cinematic FMV on replay multiple times. Now this was a time before iPods and the internet, easy access to the internet, so this was the only thing I had to be able to listen to the music and watch this really beautiful rendered CGI cinematic. It was absolutely phenomenal. And just before I take the nostalgia goggles off for this game, I've got to mention the intertwining paths, how the teams would, cross at different stages, and they'd all have their own separate stories and arcs and, developments they were all going through. But then, once you finally complete all of them, you get access to the true final boss, the true last story, and where all the teams combine into one to take on this great evil force that's going to take over the world. I won't spoil it if you haven't played it. I mean, it's a very old game. I would highly recommend it, but I love it in media where teams combine their forces together to triumph over a bigger threat. I think that's brilliant, and it was a twist to me because I'm not too familiar with the Sonic universe, so to have a character introduced towards the end and some little clues here and there towards the stories wrapping up for individual teams, I thought it was marvellous. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So I will now take off my nostalgic goggles and I'll move on to another game that's in my top 3 favourite Sonic games ever. So, without a doubt, one of my absolute favourite games has to be Sonic Adventure DX, the Director's Cut. So, Sonic Adventure 1, but Director's Cut. I remember seeing this on a shelf, I think it must have been Blockbuster or somewhere, and thinking I really like the graphics, and I really like the art style. And I had a lot of fun with Sonic Heroes, a much recent game. So, let's go back to one of the originals. I'd been exposed to Sonic Adventure Battle 2. I played with a friend called Kieran when I was younger. So I had experience with SA2, but I just saw the box art, like, ooh, that looks really cool. You know what, let's give it a go. And obviously being an older game is a lot more cheaper, which was great. And by this point I actually had managed to get a GameCube, which was, you know, very fortunate. Anyway, Sonic Adventure DX, my god, what a game. Amazing soundtrack, open your heart. Again, I'm a sucker for a good cinematic at the start of a video game. It just draws you in. It's like a mini trailer to like get you hyped up and pumped up for what exactly you're about to play. Sonic Adventure DX, I'm lost for words to explain how much I love this game. So let's break down the story first of all. You get to play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big the Cat, Gamma, and finally you get to play as Super Sonic at the very end. You know, a last story much akin to what Sonic Heroes did, and probably took inspiration from this game to do that. So these different stories all intertwined, all going towards a bigger grandiose plot, and you get to have fun. And there's so many different play styles within the different characters of this game. I mean, Big the Cat is basically a fishing simulator, and it's really, really fun as well. And I think everyone's different play styles really breaks up the game as well. So you're not just speeding through levels of Sonic, you might be finding shards of the Master Emeralds for Knuckles. And Gamma, one of my favourite stories ever. I will touch more deeply on this a little bit later in a future question. But yes, what a story. And the antagonist is not just Eggman, it is literally a monster called Chaos, who will destroy the world if he gathers the 7 Chaos Emeralds. It's brilliant. It's truly brilliant. It's a really, you know, end of the world kind of story where a great monster is about to unleash havoc on the world and you're the only one that can stop him. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm just gushing talking about this game. I want to get back and play it. I got the PS3 download years ago when it got ported over to PS3 and smashed it out in a few days because I just loved it. And I can't forget the introduction to Chow Garden either. What an amazing mechanic. Very much kind of Tamagotchi, take care of your pet, play with it, feed it, give it stat boosts, let it go in competitions. It's brilliant. It's absolutely amazing. It's just such a complete package, I feel, Sonic Adventure is. DX, I'm not quite sure what the differences are with the Director's Cut. I think one of the bonuses, if you can collect all the emblems, you get to play as Metal Sonic, as a reskin for Sonic, which is really, really mighty cool, especially as I've got a bit of fondness for that character after Sonic Heroes. But yeah, absolutely blows me away that more people haven't played the original Sonic Adventure DX. Now finally, my top 3, I have to say this because it's the last proper Sonic game I played other than Generations, but my final pick is Sonic Unleashed. Released back in 2008, obviously I was a bit older, teenager now. Sonic wasn't as cool anymore, and a lot of people were hating on Sonic after the flop of 06. But Sonic Unleashed to me just really brought it back. A globe-trotting adventure where the daytime stages, I think that's fundamentally formed how Sonic stages present themselves from now on. So it's mighty impressive. Just from that one game alone, what they've been able to do with that and now expand on the play style. So Sonic just feels right. He feels fast, he feels speedy, he feels energetic. I don't know how to describe it, but they supremely nailed how Sonic should feel. Yes, you have the gimmick of the Hedgehog, absolutely fine. I don't even mind the Hedgehog. I don't know why it gets so much hate, but you know, I suppose people just wanted a pure speed, fast Sonic game, which, you know, people did get in the future, you know. Generations, the new one with Shadow in it, you know. You get to love those speedy Sonic games, and you've got to pay homage to those that put the work into the Sonic we have now. I don't want to hate Sonic. I want to love Sonic. I want to love all its editions. Sonic 06 might not be a perfect game. By no stretch of the imagination was it perfect, but I'm getting off topic now. Let's go back onto Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed. strips back everything, you could almost call it Sonic Adventure 3. It's small scale, it is a world-ending story. However, this time the stakes feel higher because it's more personal. As you're going from country to country, you're having a cultural experience, you're meeting the people that live and how they're affected by Dr. Eggman trying to awaken Gaia, this destructive monster. And you can, you get that personal relationship with each country and the people in that country and how desperate they are for Sonic to foil Eggman's plans and stop him from building Eggman Land and, world domination essentially. And the soundtrack just accompanies the level so well. It's just a beautiful fusion of euphoric sound to go with the gameplay. And even when you switch to nighttime, the stakes are also high because Sonic is now, I guess, cursed, you could say, as being form changed into a werehog, which has its own gameplay style, which does break it up because it's more a beat 'em up at this point. He's got abilities, he's more ferocious, more violent, and it's quite impressive actually what they pull off with that game. Not to mention the opening, as I'm a sucker for how good a cinematic opening. He turns to Super Sonic straight off the bat and absolutely wrecks Eggman's stuff, only to be caught in a trap. It's marvellous, it's a beautiful game, it's brilliant, it's difficult, but it's so worth it. And again, a beautiful main theme of endless possibilities by Bowling for Soup. It's just very inspirational, very optimistic kind of game, and it's very inspirational to travel as well. And I quite like the grounded feel of this Sonic game, so that's why it belongs in my top 3. Question number 2. Who is your favourite Sonic character? A bit of a cop-out because I can't choose a favourite, so I'm going to do a top 3 again, in no particular order. Is the echidna with the big fists? It's got to be Knuckles. Originally an adversary to Sonic in his first introduction to the games, he was a rival, but then soon became a friend to Sonic. He's originally portrayed as quite naive and gullible, but he surely makes up with that in strength. But my favourite version of the character, where I first really grew to beloved Knuckles, was that of Sonic Adventure DX. Playing his story, him just starting out on Angel Island, the Master Emeralds just explode and, they fly off to different locations and Chaos is released. But as much as I enjoyed his story, gathering the Master Emerald shards again, it was actually the ending that was quite solemn, To actually quote, that's actually stuck with me a long time since playing that game was, "I may not know the whole story behind this, but perhaps it's better that way." I absolutely love that quote, and it just kind of encapsulates the whole story, and it's a good metaphor for life as well. You're not always going to get everything, you're not always going to get the closure. Not everything's going to be tied up in a neat little package. You're not going to know the full story, and that's okay, it's fine. So I really do admire that quote, and maybe it's just the delivery of the line or something, but it just stuck me all these years, so that is partially why Knuckles is in my top 3 beloved Sonic characters. Without further ado, let's go on to number 2, and that has got to be Silver the Hedgehog from Sonic 06. Now, a lot of people do say there's some striking comparisons you can make between Dragon Ball Z or the Dragon Ball franchise and Sonic. I definitely see the comparison between Silver and Trunks. However, Silver, although his introduction was probably one of the worst games there is quite a memorable story and quite honourable. Essentially, Silver is a hedgehog from an alternative timeline from the future that's basically desolate. It's complete wasteland. It's been destroyed by Iblis. Again, another monster. They really do go back to the world quite a few times with Sonic now, looking back at this. Anyway, his mission, his goal, if you like, is to go back in time, change the past from this monster ever to be being released, essentially, so to correct his timeline, to ensure peace in his future. And I just think that's absolutely brilliant. And not only that, his design is so clean and so, I don't know, it just emits hero to me. And not only that, he's got some special tricks up his sleeve as well. He's actually telekinetic as well, and that's quite a cool ability. We've had speed, you know, we've seen this kind of thing before. We've had strength, speed, flying, but telekinesis, okay, now that's special. That is really, really special. So, onto my final pick, and by no means least, one of my favourites of all time, the most human, non-human character in all the Sonic franchise. It's got to be Gamma. E102 Gamma is a robot created by Dr. Eggman, and he actually gains free will and consciousness. And although he's not like the animal kind of characters you expect to see in Sonic the Hedgehog, his story is so touching and quite sad actually. So essentially, Gamma's free will is a result of a programming flaw, and it led to his consciousness development. It then prompted Gamma to abandon his creator Eggman due to his cruelty. Gamma then pursued a mission to liberate his robot siblings from Eggman, even at the cost of his own life. So essentially, if you know Sonic, you know that Eggman's machines are powered by little animals inside them, flickies and all other kind of creatures, and that's what powers Eggman's robots, from these animals being trapped inside them. So in the game, there's a bird closely attached to Amy's story, Birdie, I believe its name is, and within Gamma is one of the parent birds of Birdie, and essentially Gamma, the robot themselves, understands this and wants to try and free the captured animals within his robot brethren. And basically you just become this Terminator and you go on this hunt to liberate the robots, and you know, free the animals trapped inside them. It's such a fantastic story, and you've got Gamma kind of weighing up his own mortality, thinking, well, you know, I need to, at the end of this, I'm going to have to end it in order to free the bird that's trapped in me. It's such an amazing story, it truly is. And the final fight with your brother, like from the beginning, and then coming full circle at the very end. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful story, and it is so sad. Ask any Sonic fan about Gamma, and I'm sure they'll have similar experiences, but that is why Gamma is my number 3 top favourite Sonic character. Number 3. What are your favourite soundtracks or songs from Sonic games? Well, as you already know, I can't choose, so we're going to do a top 3 again. We're going to start with a bit of a background story to this. So, I didn't like conventional music growing up. I wasn't really into the Killers or things of that nature. You know, I played Guitar Hero 3, I had some, you know, not bad music taste, but I was very much into the rock stuff, and I understand why now because of Sonic games. Sonic games have such a heavy rock soundtrack to them. They're absolutely awesome, and they really are, especially those final, well, basically the actual soundtracks attached to the games themselves, where Sonic becomes Super Sonic and fights the main evil of the game. They are such brilliant composed pieces that go hand in hand with boss fights. So for 1 year, I managed to convince Mum and Dad to get me a CD that we could play in my dad's car on the way to school. And that CD was this one here. True Blue, the best of Sonic the Hedgehog. This CD drove my mum crazy. Every time we go in the car, I'd always request it to go on, and she's like, this isn't car music, this isn't car music. And I think my dad kind of got a thrill out of mum being quite annoyed about it. So yeah. So one of the tracks on there that I really enjoyed was His World from Sonic 06. I did think to play the music in this video, but I really don't want to get it copyright stricken, because I just don't want to get copyright strike. However, what I will do is I'll leave the links to my 3 picks, and I hope you do take the time to go and treat your ears and go and listen to them. So yeah, number 1 was His World by Zebrahead, or the instrumental version. I'll link, like I say, I will link these down in the description below. Endless Possibilities, again attached to one of my favourite games, Sonic Unleashed. It's just so positive, so upbeat, I don't know, it makes you feel like you take on the world. It is absolutely incredible. Incredible song. People really, like, there's music in the Sonic games makes the games, essentially. It is such a vital component, and they strike gold every single time. There's not a one Sonic game where I can tell you there's a bad song in it, because there's always a song in the games that you will absolutely love. And then finally, last but not least, my final pick has got to be City Escape from Sonic Adventure Battle 2. There we go, it made the list in some way, shape or form. Sonic Adventure Battle 2. The very opening level, the hook to that song, just wow. Rolling around at the speed of sound, got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow. Sorry, I just couldn't help myself there. I really wanted to sing that. Hopefully that doesn't get a copyright strike, but we shall see. Anyway, those are my picks for my favourite soundtracks / songs from any Sonic game. Please let me know yours down in the description there, and do yourself a favour, listen to these when you get a chance, because believe me, they are worth it. Number 4, my thoughts on the movies. Well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Number 1, great introduction to the character in the world. Very much focused on the humans as well, relationship with Sonic and why he cares for the world that he now protects. Number 2, oh my gosh, improved on literally everything. Everything about the first film. You've now brought in the wider world. You now got Tails. You've got Knuckles as well. It was beautiful to be able to see Team Sonic on the big screen. Like, it really, really, I don't know, how do I even say it? It was exciting to see a childhood dream become reality on the big screen. So Sonic 1 and 2, both fantastic films in their own way. Number 2 really stepped the bar up, and I'm so excited for number 3 to come out and introduce Shadow and just see what they do with that. So yeah, my thoughts on the film, brilliant. Keep coming. We need more Sonic movies. Moving on to number 5, an unpopular opinion. An unpopular opinion about Sonic. Well, there are multiple unpopular opinions about the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise and the direction they've gone. However, I would have to say an unpopular opinion is Shadow the Hedgehog was actually a really good game. They built off from the clone and android kind of setup they brought in and Sonic Heroes ending, and they built upon it. The branching narratives, the ways you could take Shadow becoming completely good or completely evil or neutral, or that just benefits himself. Fantastic idea. Yeah, some introduction of characters that maybe weren't always the best, but then you got some backstory on Maria and Gerald Robotnik, and you got weapons as well. It was such an edgy game. I'm not enjoying it just for the edginess. I just enjoy just getting to play Shadow and getting these options, these choices. I think that was a fantastic game, and yeah, argue with me all you want, but I believe Shadow the Hedgehog was an absolutely phenomenal game. Question 6. What's your favourite piece of Sonic merchandise that you own? Well, I think you already know the answer to this. It's not going to be a single answer. It's going to be multiple answers. And we're going to start off with 2 things that you can actually see in the background of this video. There's the Chow plush, the Dark Chow plush, because you'd never see Chows really represented. Well, now you do. You get a lot more merchandise you ever used to have, which I will touch on to a little bit later. So yeah, the Dark Chow, which I've taken a photo here for you. And also merchandise, especially older Sonic stuff, it wasn't around as much back then. So the only access I had to this was car boot sales. And my gosh, I got a treasure one day, as you can see here. I got this really old Sonic the Hedgehog plush toy from, I don't even know how old this is. That's the thing, I don't even have a tag I could even check. Bless my mum, she actually sewed on a ribbon onto his right foot. As you can see on the right hand side, it's slightly different to the left one because he didn't have one. He was a bit damaged, pre-loved. So bless my mum for sewing a ribbon on, which has remained on his right foot ever since, which is really sweet. Additionally, another little find from car boot sale was this Sonic the Hedgehog bubble bath bottle, which quite nicely seconds as a statue. vintage Sonic the Hedgehog statue, which I think is really cool. I think I paid like 50p for it. I couldn't complain. I was over the moon when I found this, especially for such a cheap price. It's brilliant. It's absolutely awesome. And then finally, in both tied are absolute treasures in my Sonic collection are these two figures. We've got Chaos Zero and my favourite character Gamma, who is ridiculously hard to get hold of nowadays. I was very lucky to find it on eBay once. The Rosaurus toy line doesn't even exist anymore, and then obviously very recently, I think it's Jack Pacific, have started doing a lot more obscure Sonic characters, so it's lovely that these older characters that never got see the light of day in terms of merchandise that you can actually get something for. So Chaos Zero was an absolute must pick up for me when that released last year or the year before. So yeah, these two figures, absolutely beautiful, and yeah, just kind of encapsulate my love for the Sonic franchise. So here we are, the final question. What is your favourite nostalgic Sonic memory? Well, here's a bit of a story time for you. So, as mentioned before, my first ever introduction to the Sonic 3D world was through Sonic Heroes, and obviously replaying that cinematic cutscene over and over and over again. And as a child, you know, you kind of want to play with these characters. Now, unfortunately, Sonic wasn't that popular back then, and it didn't really have a toy line as such. I mean, there were certain things coming out of Sonic X, but regardless, there was no real way to get your hands on a Sonic toy back then. So what I did, I made my own. I made my own Sonic. So I used to draw the Sonic characters, colour them in, use felt tips, and then Mum and Dad, bless them, would laminate what I'd made and turn it into and cut them out for me so I could have little figures of them, and I'd play and have story adventures with them, and that was a really cool memory for me as a child. I really enjoyed doing that as a kid, so that would be my nostalgic Sonic memory. I will actually show you some of the drawings. I actually found them the other day, and I'll show you some of my very crude drawings, and hopefully you might be able to make out some of the characters that I tried to draw here. So it looks like we're now coming to the end of our Sonic Brickhead build. The overall build took roughly about 25 minutes. Thanks to my fantastic partner for being actually able to read the instructions. A few little confusing bits, but look how cool it looks. Look how solid and put together he is. I don't really like Brickhead much, but I think they've done a really good job with him. And Sonic Lego has just gone absolutely off the chain recently, obviously, with a new film coming out, some new sets that are featuring Super Sonic and Super Shadow and Tails' Tornado. It's brilliant. It's such a good time to be a Sonic fan, it really is, and it just makes me feel nostalgic for the whole journey that Sonic's been on with me. Here he goes. Here he is, the man himself, about to take pride in place where he belongs. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for staying to the end if you made it this far, and please comment down below your answers to the questions posted in this video. I'd really love to know. For now, enjoy. Please like, subscribe, and enjoy these really crude drawings I made as a child.